Good morning, I am Kevin Price. I'd like to spend time with you talking about you and your business on today's program. We have a lot to cover. I want to talk a little bit about the big race for city council. A lot of people are so caught up in their summers and busy with activity, they're not even thinking about the fact that it is, in fact, an election season here in the Houston area. The mayor, of course, running for re-election. There's candidates for that office, but there's also a plethora of city council seats, and we've got Helena Brown. She is a guest here today. She's running for re-election in her seat, which is District
A.
Right, and in fact, that's my district. Hey, wait a minute, I voted for you last time. That explains plenty. Hey, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for having me. Let's talk about what's going on in the city of Houston. I know we get all these great ratings, but are we really talking about the city of Houston, or are we talking about the region? That's the big question.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think if you look at Harris County versus Houston, it really is a tale of two different governments, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think the census in 2010 showed that the growth in unincorporated Harris County was 4.5 times that of within the city limits. Mm-hmm. So when we hear about all those positive reports and stuff, unfortunately, I'd like to think it was the other way around, but it's really the region we're talking about, not the city proper. And we need to do our part by electing, leading leaders that really are go-getters into being pro-business and free market to help the economy in the city of Houston, because we're good, but not as good as we can be. It's in spite of our city government that tends to be more taxing, more feeing, more rate increases. In fact, in 2010, we saw a 250% increase on business permitting fees.
Yeah, which, you know what? Call them what you want, but they're a tax on business activity. You can call them whatever you want, but that's essentially what they are.
Absolutely. And we saw also the water rate increase. That impacts business as well as the residential community. In fact, 150,000 Houstonians moved out of the city in 2010. So this is bad policy that we're taking on. And it's funny because, on the other hand, while we raise rates and fees, the city goes and gives us tax breaks to, these companies like Chevron and other places, which is good. It proves the point that tax breaks encourages business growth. Yet, on the other hand, we're raising fees and rates. It doesn't make any sense. We need to do it across the board. Yeah,
and of course, I actually don't, you and I both know, Helena, that businesses don't pay taxes anyway. All they are is tax collectors. Business taxes are a fixed cost of doing business, just like salaries, just like utilities, just like rent. And so they pass that on to the consumer. This is one of those things that just undermines their ability to be competitive, which is so contrary to good government.
Absolutely. The taxpayers in Houston are being triply taxed, quadruply taxed, especially with this drainage fee and all those additional fees that are added to the water bills and everything else. And then there's the other side of things in terms of the ordinances, the onerous regulation from City Hall. They tried to pass a Chapter 8 amendment to the ordinance dealing with the auto industry, and that would have been, in effect, shut down a lot of mom-and-pop shops, but we were able to stand up and say, enough's enough, we cannot do this to this industry, and we were able to defeat that. Then there was an effort to ban plastic bags, and again, we were able to defeat that. That would have shut down 15 plastic bag manufacturers here in Houston, thousands of jobs.
Yeah. By the way, Helena, what's your website?
Website is helenabrown.com, HELENA, Brown, like the color brown.com, and we have an event this coming Sunday for everyone to come out and join us, an old-fashioned ice cream social, and we have the Billy Ledbetter Orchestra and the legendary Johnny Rodriguez. They're going to be live there with some good music, good community fun, and bring the family out and enjoy the Sunday afternoon with us at 2 o'clock at the West Houston Airport.
West Houston Airport, yeah, that's right there across the street from Bear Creek Park, essentially.
There you go, between Highway 6 and Barker Cypress, south of Clay Road.
Saturday at 2 p.m. I encourage people to check that out, and who doesn't like ice cream?
That's right.
So talk a little bit about, by the way, I do want to mention a very good friend of mine who I think is a friend of yours as well, Clyde, help me out here. He's with Ohio Electric, and I can't believe
Clyde Bryan.
Thank you very much. Sometimes my life is like a bad game show. But anyway, Clyde Bryant is a great guy and someone whose political opinion on city government I would rank higher than just about anyone. He's very savvy as to what's happening in this great city of ours. And Clyde just speaks extremely well of you and what you've done. He's watched your office, he's watched the city council in particular, and he really caused you, just a shining light in a otherwise mediocre at best and sometimes horrible city council. And so what is it like being somewhat of a Don Quixote fighting all these battles with people who don't really seem to care?
Well, at first it was a little difficult, and it still remains, a bit of both worlds. But it's a very blessed opportunity to be able to be of service and actually make a government work for the communities. It's really incredible to see day in and day out, constituents, the residents of District A, as well as businesses, be thrilled to be able to actually get a response from their council member, see their council member there in their business or in their community, at their civic meeting, and get government departments to respond and solve problems. That's effective leadership. That's proven leadership that's really needed. And so to me, when people, my constituents are like, wow, this is great, I'm like, well, isn't this what we're supposed to be, getting from our government? We need to, set the bar high and demand good governance. And that's what it's all about, making sure that we're pro-business, that we're free markets, that we really do common sense governance. We have this ordinance change relating to the precious metals industry. Now, this is a battle we did not win, where due to the high rise in the value of precious metals and theft wasn't on a rise, but the value of these goods, of course, had risen. They wanted to go and try to say they wanted to catch these thieves that were selling these stolen goods at these gold and silver buyers. And so they passed an ordinance where anyone who sells their precious metals at these shops needed to get a mug shot taken and their fingerprints taken. And this passed here in the city of Houston. It's ridiculous to think that any thief is going to stop and get his mug shot and his thumbprints taken. It's going to be the law-abiding citizens that are going to have to be enduring that.
All right. You need to check out, learn more about Helena. I want you to go to helenabrown.com. Check out the ice cream social coming up this weekend. And you cover north of I-10, most of Spring Branch, a lot of the area up to 290. Is that correct?
That is correct. Anything in the city limits that's north of I-10 and west of T.C. Jester except for Oak Forest.
There you go. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com, and you're listening to The Price of Business.